The American Football Conference Championship game is brought to you by Sears Tire and Auto Centers, home of the Die-Hard battery and the Sears steel-belted radial tire. By your Dodge dealer, who brings you 3 cars in one, Dart Sport Convertible. And by Amoco Oil, who urges you to conserve this country's energy.
Magic weather in the Magic City. 80 degrees in Miami, Florida today. Pretty good breeze blowing 10 to 15 miles an hour from the team defending the goal on the right. It'll be even hotter, though, down at the base of the Orange Bowl. And the roar in the background, the Miami Dolphins have just come on the field. Hi, everybody. I'm Curt Gowdy with Al Gowdy. Around Miami, they're calling this the real Super Bowl. Some experts claim that these are the 2 best teams in pro football, and the winner will be favored to go on and become pro football's king of the hill. Of course, the Minnesota Vikings, who are impressive today, must have a wry smile on their faces as they wait to see who they're going to play. Both teams have everything, they're potent in offense and defense. Miami earlier had an 18-game winning streak stopped by the Oakland Raiders. Today, Miami will be trying to stop an Oakland 5-game winning streak. Miami's a 6 to 8 point favorite. Part of those points must be weighted in favor of the home field advantage. The Dolphins have won 23 games in a row here in the Orange Bowl on the artificial surface. Al DeRogatis, let's take a look at some of the high spots that we'll be looking for today.
Well, Curt, Miami Dolphins can run, and we thought the fans might like to see why they run so well. They've got a great convoy. This man particularly, Larry Little, number 66, a great running guard. He's going to be awesome today. Watch him. But right behind him, a man that isn't too far behind him, actually, 67, Kuchenberg of Notre Dame. This man has come on. 2 great guards leading an absolutely super runner. We think the secret for the Miami Dolphins is number 22, Mercury Morris, to the outside. Now on the other side, Curt, we know that they also can run this football, and they can run it very well. They run to their left, and why? Well, Art Shell is one great reason, 78. Big, tough, mean tackle. A typical Oakland Raider. Probably the guy that might be number 2 as an offensive guard to Larry Little is Gene Upshaw, 63. And as you watch these 2 men go off the ball, keep your eye on 44 because he comes very quickly. An awesome back, Marvin, the man from Colgate, Hubbard. Quite a guy.
All right, you know, Oakland's known as a left-handed team running to the left. Maybe they'll go right-handed today.
Good possibility. They've been selling left so hard, they'll probably go the other
really
way.
Sold it. Well, we've had a look at the Raiders and the Dolphins. They're getting ready for the opening kickoff of the American Football Conference Championship game. We'll have the acting out of the flip of the coin, which was won, by the way, by the Miami Dolphins. They always want the ball when they win the flip. They'll receive on your left. The Oakland Raiders in black will kick off on your right. That's Gene Upshaw, Willie Davis, Bob Greasy, Mumford, Larry Little, and Nick Bonacani. Nick Bonacani's been very good on these coin flips this year. He won 11 in a row. Then he lost 3 in a row, and he's come back to win 2 in the playoffs. Let's go down on the field now.
Please rise. The invocation will be offered by Rabbi Irving Lehrman, Temple Emmanuel, Miami Beach, Florida.
The PA system here is not working. We're having a prayer. I'll remain quiet while it's on. And we'll have the playing of the national anthem. It'll be sung by Anita Bryant.
A greater sense of human fellowship and brotherhood in a world at peace. Amen.
The national anthem will be sung by Anita Bryant.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's end? Whose broad streets and bright stars through the fair light o'er the ramparts we and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave through the night that our flag was still there. Oh,
They're hearing everything today. Swimsuits, T-shirts, white suits, sun-drenched crowd in the Orange Bowl. The game is being televised locally with a sellout this week. John Madden back in the championship game again. 5 times in the last 7 years, the Oakland Raiders have gone to the championship of the old AFL or the American Football Conference. And a very dominant team. Don Shula trying to take his team to an unprecedented 3rd American Football Conference championship in a row and a 3rd successive trip to the Super Bowl. No team has ever done this. The officials, Tommy Bell, who's an attorney at law in Lexington, Kentucky, is the referee. Paul Trapinski, a real estate man, is the umpire. Ed Marion's the head linesman. He's the manager of a pension department for an insurance company. Line judge is Bruce Alford. Field judge is Bob Wharton, and the back judge is Ray Douglas. Kicking off will be Ray Guy. Charlie Lee, closest to you, 28 yards of kickoff return. Mercury Morris has averaged 22 yards. Ray Guy, the rookie punter and kickoff man, boots the ball. A squibbler. And it's fielded on the 30 by Nottingham. Don Nottingham, a blocker, caught that ball. He's been excellent on the specialty team since the Dolphins grabbed him from the Baltimore Colts, and he's tackled by Monty Johnson. Let's set the teams up now. Bob Greasy will be a quarterback, number 12. Mercury Morris, 22. Sonka, 39, the running backs. Mandich is starting at right end, playing with a fractured hand. Warfield, 42. Briscoe, 86 to the wide men. Wayne Moore, Evans the tackles. Kuchenberg, Little at guard. Jim Langer is the center. Miami putting the ball in play from their own 36. In motion is Briscoe. Greasy gives the ball off on the first play to Sonka. Not much. Art Tom, the standout right tackle, number 80, made the stop for the Oakland Raiders.
Curt, one quick comment. Ray Guy did not have a good kickoff or a good punting game in his first championship effort, and that was last week against the Steelers. His kickoff here was bad. Gave the Miami Dolphins pretty good field position.
Second down, 9, Miami. Tony Klein, 84, left end. Sistrunk, 60, left tackle. Tom, 80, right tackle. Horace Jones, 82, the right end. The down 4 for Oakland. Second down, 9 for Miami. They're going against the wind in the first period. He wasn't offside. And Mercury breaks it out to the 44, where Jack Tatum came up to hit him. Mercury Morris had a big day against Cincinnati last Sunday, going over 100 yards. As Al told you before the game, he averaged 6.4 yards a carry this year. O.J. Simpson had 6 yards a carry. Now Briscoe is out, and Marv Fleming comes in for the double tight end setup. 3rd and 2 for the Dolphins. They were uncanny last week in converting these third down plays against Cincinnati. A very high average. About 35% is the average of converting third down plays in pro football. And he has it, Larry Sonka. Dan Connors ran into him, the middle linebacker. First down, Miami. The Dolphins will be on their 48. No score. This telecast, presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the National Football League is prohibited. And NBC hopes you enjoy the American Football Conference Championship. Briscoe goes back in as a wide receiver. Mercury Morris, 50, 45, down to the 42. Fumble, but the whistle had already blown. Now Mercury can get you that yardage in or out. Very powerful thighs, quick hitter, tremendous acceleration.
Here's a good shot of it. Now Kuchenberger's the guard to the left. Langer, what a center he is. That's Little pulling, going inside. Zonka leading it up there, and Mercury speed cracks it. Now this is, as we said, a great running football team. What both of them are.
Al Davis, the general manager of the Raiders, first down Miami, said this game would depend on how Miami started. If they got off to a great start like they did against Cincinnati, Oakland had their hands full. Miami, the first two times they had the ball against the Bengals, went 80 yards on beautifully executed drives. Miami now is on the Oakland 42 with a first down. Greasy looks them over. Here's our first pass. Sideline. It is no good to Briscoe. A flag has been dropped along the sideline. Nehemiah Wilson covering. And this may be against the Raiders. Bill Villapiano dropping back, the left linebacker. He hurt himself last week, but he's all right today. Wayne Moore is coming out, and going in at tackle is Doug Cruzan. That's a first down. It's holding, automatic first down. Defensive holding, not interference.
All right, now with the wide side of the field to the bottom of your screen, we've been talking about Morris going wide. If he does, Zonka generally makes a block to the inside. The two guards will be pulling. The man that could have the most difficult time will be Nehemiah Wilson, number 48. He's only 165 pounds. In front of him is Tony Klein, and in back of Tony Klein is Phil Villapiano.
And the holding was called on Nehemiah Wilson. Looked like Wayne Moore, the left tackle of Miami, hurt his arm, replaced by Doug Cruzan. First down for the Dolphins on the Raider 37. No score. We're early. Miami has an early drive going. Mercury Morris. And they get him that time. Coming up to hit him, Nehemiah Wilson. Fine play by the left cornerback from Grambling. A free agent signed back in '68.
Oh, we thought they'd try this man, but he's good. He's there 9 years from Grambling. You're right, and he's a good one. Now watch it. Gets away from Briscoe. Really doesn't make the play. Coming to the outside, crossbody. Perfect play. That's the way you play cornerback.
Loss of a yard, second down, 11. Don Shula had just sent Jim Kick in. Every time he sent Kick in last week, they threw to him successfully, caught 7 passes. Now they're in the I formation. Second down, 11 for Miami. No score, 11:20 to go, first period. They run Jim Kick, and he maybe has a yard or two. Otis Sistrunk, the shaven-headed left tackle, who didn't go to college. That trade, they got him from the Los Angeles Rams, and he and Toms now are really rugged in the middle of that front four of the Raiders.
Here's another one of those difficult third down long situations. Okay, Paul Warfield on the far side. We know he will be double covered. If he stays there, he's going to be going against one of the very best. The Oakland Raiders, Willie Brown, they're in a prevent defense of the Raiders.
All right, they've taken Dan Connors out and put in a fifth back in the secondary, Skip Thomas, number 26. Third and 10. Greasy gets away at the 40, 35, 30, first down, 20. And he's hauled down by Phil Villapiano, who saved a touchdown. Greasy coming out of the pocket. Used to be quite a scrambler. Don Shula has turned him into a control scrambler.
Well, this is a beautiful play. Now they respect Warfield. They turn their back to the field. Greasy scrambles. What a big play he makes here.
That's Villapiano who nipped him around the ankles.
All right, now you don't get off the ground. That was Art Toms going off the ground. Once you leave the ground, you give that quarterback the chance.
Dan Connors back in as middle linebacker. Mercury Morris is in again. Donka, touchdown, Miami. Oh, they made it look easy.
Well, if you're going to run, you run at your best and you run with your best. Little folds over, good block. Mercury Morris, what a beauty. And the big man, Zonka.
9 plays, a picture drive by Miami. Here's another angle as I look at it. Look at Zonka, look at the hole. Little wipes his man out. Just a ramble in there by Larry Zonka. 64 yards at 9 plays. There he is. He loves contact. 3 years in a row, he's gained 1,000 yards to join 4 other backs in pro football history. Yepremian puts it through. Miami has jumped out early. Score, Miami 7, Oakland nothing. Well, Al, they started off just the way they did against Cincinnati.
And, Curt, they were awesome. And we know what the Oakland Raiders did last week. They were overpowering against the Steelers.
Clarence Davis, Charlie Smith are deep. Yepremian's kick. Against the wind, grabbed by Clarence Davis, coming out to the 10, 20, and he's up to his 26-yard line, where he's spilled by Curtis Johnson, who plays the right cornerback spot, number 45. Now the Raiders will have Kenny Stabler at quarterback, number 12. Charlie Smith, 23, Marv Hubbard, 44, the running back. Mike Ciani, 49's outside. Fred Biletnikoff, 25, is wide. Bob Moore, 88's the tight end. Art Shell and John Bella are the tackles. Upshaw and Beeler are the guards. Old double lot, Jim Otto, playing his 195th or 7th consecutive game to center. Marv Hubbard to the 30, and he pounds his way out for a first down as he gets out to his 39-yard line, where the safety man, Jake Scott, tripped him up. Marv Hubbard.
We talked about their ability to run left, Curt, right? They ran right, and they ran well, but they're running away from the tight end. Now they might be going, and we'll keep our eye on number 57, Mike Colon. Doug Swift has had a great year at the strong linebacker. Bonaconte, they may be going after Colon.
First down, Oakland on their 39. Over the 40 to the 41 is Charlie Smith. That's their weak side play, but it's really their strong side play because they're running behind the left tackle, Shell, the left guard, Upshaw, who just are ferocious up front as blockers. Mike Colon made the hit. Starting today for Miami fans is their great tackle, Manny Fernandez, 75, who's had a torn hamstring muscle. Bob Hines has just left the game. Matheson comes in to replace him. Then Herter's at left end, Stanfield's at right end. Second down, 8, Oakland on their 41. Marv Hubbard is hit by Bill Stanfield and Bob Matheson. And he's ridden down on the 44-yard line of Oakland, a 3-yard gain. Third down and 5. Bill Stanfield, who's had a bout of gallbladder trouble all year.
All right, now we know that Stabler had a beautiful afternoon against the Pittsburgh Steelers, throwing underneath the zone. The linebackers make deep drops. He watches them. He throws beneath them. He's going to have to keep his eye on that middleman, Nick Bonaconte.
Third and 5, Oakland's first third down situation. Miami's ahead 7-0. 7:45 to go in the first period. Ken Stabler's pass. He completes it to Hubbard out of the backfield. A first down for Oakland on the Miami 48. Nick Bonaconte made the hit. Ken Stabler, who set an all-time throw record, 25 out of 29 against Baltimore. 14 out of 17 last week against Pittsburgh. He's a dart thrower. Extremely accurate. That's him in one playoff game, but for the season, he completed 63% of his passes. Matheson is out. Bob Hines back in at tackle. First down, Oakland was spotted on the Miami 49. Charlie Smith at the 50, and he's to the 47-yard line of Miami, where he's taken by Manny Fernandez and the safety man, Dick Anderson, one of the hardest hitters of any safety man in pro football. In fact, today, Al, we probably have two of the 3 or 4 hardest hitters of safety man. Anderson on one team, Jack Tatum on the other.
Curt, going along on defense now, we're seeing a 53 defense now being employed again. Both teams have been running to the side that they've been talking about. We have not seen a counter back. Hubbard coming one way, Charlie Smith or Clarence Davis hitting behind him.
Bob Mathis is in on the 53 defense. He's at right in. The 45-yard line is Charlie Smith. He was hit first by Manny Fernandez, 75, and then helped by Nick Bonacani. Manny Fernandez is unhappy. Second year in a row, he's not been picked for the Pro Bowl.
Here it is again.
Larry Sonka getting a breather. Going in now is number 25. That's Tim Foley, who's been injured with a bad shoulder. Bonacani goes out, so the Dolphins have 5 secondary backs in. And it is 3rd and 6 for Oakland on the Miami 45. Miami leading 7-0. Sabres pass. Flag is down. And Mike Ciani is stopped at the 34, but a flag has been dropped. It may be against Oakland. Maybe holding. Sabres already showing you how accurate he is. They give him beautiful protection.
They do, Curt. He's not getting... Now, the Dolphins are concentrating really on that secondary, and they're going to try to take away the short zone. We're probably going to see this man, who rarely is intercepted, get intercepted if he gets a big rush. 3rd and long, this is the logical.
The philosophy of Oakland's passing game, 2 things. Number 1, no interceptions, and number 2, they don't like their wide receivers to block. They don't want their wide receivers to become injured. That's why there barely are. The holding was on Bella, number 75. Miami, on the other hand, likes their wide receivers to block. Paul Warfield's an outstanding blocker. Banasak's in the game now. Sabres pass is complete to his 47, but Bonacani hit Charlie Smith right away. And a 4th down coming up. Let's take a look at this zone of Miami, how they drop. Look at them backpedal, Al.
This is a perfect position. Look at the linebackers. Top men, short zone, deep zone. John McKay was talking about this the other day, Curt, to both of us. I think Coach McKay, that's a perfect picture of the zone.
Ray Guy, who just missed the punting championship of the American Conference by a fraction of a yard to Jarrell Wilson in punt formation. He averaged 49 yards a kick out at Berkeley against this team. He lost it deep to Jake Scott. Scott takes it on the 13, 15, and he's drilled there on his 15-yard line. He's hit there by Dave Dalby, number 50. Timeout with a score, Miami 7, Oakland nothing. Well, Al and I have been out in Pasadena taking a look at Ohio State and USC. We'll be flying back tomorrow to do the Rose Bowl. Should be quite a game, Ohio State and USC. It'll be on NBC Sports, number 1 in live coverage of major sports events all year round. First down for Miami on their 15-yard line. Bob Greasy, number 2 in the American Conference in passing this year, at 17 touchdown passes, more than Stabler, completed 53%, had only 8 intercepted. He always seems to be at his best in the biggest games. The neurosurgeon, we call him. Larry Sonka out to the 20, 25, first down at the 29. Jack Tatum, number 31, hit him. Larry Sonka, a Christmas baby. He was 27 years old on Christmas Day.
Well, Bob Greasy gave the ball to the Christmas baby to the right side. The defense was set to the offside. They go after their big man, Norm Evans, number 73, tackle Larry Little, 66, and give the ball to the brute, Zonka. What a runner.
Some baby, huh?
He sure is.
First down, Miami on their 29. They're opening big holes in Oakland. Greasy to Sonka again. Sistrunk, number 60, made the initial hit on him. But, you know, when you stop Sonka, he still gets those couple of yards. Last week, we saw him tackle, Al and I, for the first time behind the line of scrimmage. It was on a delay play. Here's Sistrunk now, Al.
Number 60, playing against Norm Evans. A good one in Norm. Hogs up the hole, but as you say, he still got 3 yards.
Those were delay plays he was trapped last week, and he said he's worked on his timing all week. He's already carried for 33 yards in this game. 2nd and 7, Miami on their 32. There goes Warfield in motion. And Greasy's going to throw. And he's slipping away. He was trying to reach Warfield deep. And notice that Al Oakland, you used to be a defensive tackle. Oakland seems to be so up that they may be over-trying on their pass rush. They're letting Greasy slip away from him. They're not hitting him. They're reaching for him.
That's right, but they sure made a big play here, Curt. Paul Warfield was open. He had Willie Brown beaten. If this pass rush doesn't come, they could have gone a long way.
They slip away, they're reaching. They're just reaching for him. They're not hitting him. 3rd down and 15. Miami under 24. They're ahead 7-0. They had a 64-yard drive the first time they took the opening kickoff and moved in. Now Greasy on a draw play. Santa wriggling forward to his 27, that's all. And we'll have a punt formation by Miami with a 4th and 12. Phil Villapiano brought Santa down. Larry Seipel will be the punter. Seipel's had his best punting year. He's averaged 42.3. And you always have to be concerned with him about not punting. Several times a year on 4th down, he'll take a look. And if he's not rushed, he may take off on 4th down and run with the ball. George Atkinson will be the deep man for the Raiders on a punt return. He's kicking against a 10-mile-an-hour wind. Atkinson fields the ball on his 34. Oh, is he buried? Mike Tolan down there. And number 36, Don Nottingham, the little bowling ball, making a tremendous hit. Timeout, Miami 7, Oakland nothing. The Orange Bowl will follow the Rose Bowl at NBC, LSU versus Penn State. Everyone anxious to watch John Cappelletti, the Heisman Trophy winner, in action. And, of course, the fantastic halftime pageantry here in Miami. It'll be on NBC Sports. #1 in live coverage of major sports events all year round. And it's Oakland's ball now, 1st down on their 34. 2 minutes, 4 seconds to go in the first period. Miami ahead, 7-0. Minnesota's in the Super Bowl. They beat Dallas today, 27-10. Congratulations to Jim Finks, Bud Grant, and his gang. Charlie Smith turns, comes up over the 40, and he's to his 42.5. He'll be about 2 yards short of the 1st down. Jake Scott, the safety man. Nick Bonaconte, the middle linebacker, made the hit.
All right, they were going to try to sweep Vern Den Herter. Now, Vern moves much too quickly to the outside. He should have been getting support to the inside. He's fighting off Bella. Nick Bonaconte overshoots it a bit. Great cutback. That's the way you run the football.
John Bella at right tackle. Bob Brown's on the inactive list. Bella's a comer. He's in his 2nd year, #2 draft pick last year from USC. Oh, what a hole for Marv Hubbard. You talk about opening holes now. The Raiders ripped the Dolphins. Marv Hubbard, who has averaged 960 yards the last 3 years, who the last 5 games has reached his zenith this year as a 1st down on the Miami 45-yard line.
All right, now the Dolphins are really overreacting. Nick Bonaconte reading the play. The blocker really didn't have to make a block on him. They just go behind him. This is something you pick up in scouting.
53 defense in. Matheson at the bottom of your screen, number 53. Hines, the right tackle's out. That's Smith. Another hole. Check that. Clarence Davis has just come in, and he goes to the 39-yard line of Miami, where Mike Colin, the hardest hitter on the Dolphins, setting down, number 57, a number 12 draft pick back in 1970. You never know, do you?
Not at all. But, you know, here's where Ken Stabler or any outstanding quarterback is dangerous. 2nd, short yardage. He can do what he wants to do. Bolitnikoff on the far side against Lloyd Mumford.
Clarence Davis is there with Marv Hubbard. Davis is the Mercury Morris of the Oakland Raiders. He can get outside. So it's Hubbard. And Hubbard just over the 35, very close to the 1st down, hit by Manny Fernandez and Nick Bonaconte. Marv Hubbard has averaged just under 10 yards a carry in this game, and they're going to measure. Now they look, now they blow the gun, and that's the end of the first period with a score. Miami 7 and Oakland nothing. Preceding announcement made on behalf of the National Football League. Curt Gowdy and L.D. Rogatis into the second period. Statistics are about even. 75 yards total offense, Miami, 69 Oakland. Miami 7 first downs, Oakland 4. They measured between periods. Oakland has a first down on the Miami 34. As Clarence Davis, he ran into one of his own blockers. Trying to go left. Dick Anderson and Doug Swift stop him.
One of the reasons that coaches have been setting their running backs, especially their fast men, further back is to give them an opportunity to see a hole. You saw Clarence run up on George Beeler, the guard pulling. He needed a little bit more room.
John Madden and Darrell LaMonica, now the backup quarterback. Ollie Spencer in charge of the offensive line with a telephone. Upstairs to the Oakland coaching staff. Stabler's pass out of bounds to Biletnikoff. Lloyd Mumford was there with him. They had that play smothered. Now it's 3rd and 9. You know, this year, Miami rushed the ball 65% of the time. The Raiders 58%. In the playoffs, each team ran the ball 3 out of 4. Stabler now is 2 out of 3. Both teams have stuck to the ground most of the way so far.
Made some absolutely clever calls in the process, Curt. When you're running the ball so well against a team like Miami and the way they are reacting, he might try to hit the wide side of his field with something quick or a man coming out of the backfield.
3rd and 9 for Oakland on the Miami 33. Stabler's pass off the hands of Bob Moore, the tight end. And Moore was being covered by Mumford on 4th down. George Blanda comes on. He kicked 4 field goals against Pittsburgh. George Blanda this year has been incredible for his age, 46 years old. Inside the 40-yard line, he is 20 out of 22. Outside the 40, his efficiency drops off rapidly. And this one is going to be a 41-yard field goal. This is his 21st lifetime attempt at an AFC Championship game. His kick is up. It is short and to the left, no good. George Blanda misses a 41-yard field goal, and the Dolphins hold. Al Davis there with his hand up to his chin. The general manager, there's Ted Kennedy, Senator Kennedy. Incidentally, he has his son here today, Ted Jr. with him. And Senator McGovern also. All right, let's go back to the game. First down. Miami on their 20-yard line. They're leading 7-0. In motion, Briscoe coming back into the play. Sonka. And he's to his 22 or 3-yard line as he lunged. Dan Connors upset him. Dan Connors has had quite a year, and he went to college right here at the University of Miami. His 10th season in professional football.
All right, here's the situation. The Oakland Raiders very wisely playing the run on first down, trying to keep the Miami Dolphins from breaking anything. We'll probably see Bob Greasy start changing it up. He'll start throwing it wide. Sooner or later, we're going to see Mercury going to the outside.
Warfield is to the left, Briscoe's to the right. 2nd down, 8, Miami. Mercury Morris, he's hemmed in. Oh, is he nailed there at the 24. He was hit hard. Sistrunk behind. And number 84, Tony Klein, slid over from his left end. A 2-yard pickup for the Merc. 3rd and 6. John Madden pacing that sideline. And now Jim Kick has come in. Morris goes out. Let's see if they throw the kick on 3rd down, which they did last week, which they like to do.
Dan Connors also goes out to prevent defense once again. 5 men in the secondary.
Skip Thomas, number 26, is in. He's right on the line of scrimmage. Against Mandy. It looks like a first down to Marlon Briscoe. He got just beyond that yardstick and turned back for the ball. Greasy delivered to him. Nehemiah Wilson hit him, but too late. First down, Miami. 8 first downs to Miami, 4 for Oakland.
Perfect play. Nehemiah Wilson was closing fast on it. Greasy fires. It's almost impossible to rush that kind of a pass. That's Wilson right there. Now, Curt, we'll see them, the Oakland Raiders go back into their run defense. Dan Connors in the middle, number 55, worth watching.
And Mercury Morris joins Larry Sonka behind Bob Greasy.
Play football, play football, play football.
Morris, he slid away from Klein. Klein had him wrapped up behind the line of scrimmage and let him get away. Then Philip Vilpiano stopped him. Bill Stanfield are working on him something wrong. A couple of years ago, he brought his pet snake to camp, a rat snake. That was the first cut by head coach Don Shula of summer camp. Jim Kick is in. Mercury Morris is out. The ball's on the 32-yard line. Dolphin leading, sacking the quarterback was Bill Stanfield. We've had only one time today the quarterback's been tackled. That's been by the Oakland Raiders. Second down, 9. Miami under 32. They're ahead in this game, 7-0. We're approaching 11 minutes to play in the first half. Skip Thomas is back into the secondary. Dan Connors is out. Offside. Maybe, unless he was drawn off. Number 82, Horace Jones, charging across that line of scrimmage. But he was drawn off by the Dolphins. A false motion. Offside, they don't stop the play. Illegal procedure, they blow the whistle.
All right, now looking at that secondary, the Oakland Raiders were figuring Greasy was going to Bob Warfield. 4 men were dropping really to this side for Mandage and for Warfield. That means that middle area is going to be wide open. So let's look for, on second and long yardage, Greasy to try something over the middle.
Second down, 14. Miami on their 27. They're ahead 7-0. Minnesota Vikings will play the winner of this game for the Super Bowl championship. We're down to 3 teams now. Miami, Oakland, and Minnesota. Norm Evans is the man that moved the right tackle on the Miami offensive line. Greasy on second down. Pass blocked at the line of scrimmage by Otis Sistrunk. And Art Toms also. Both of them had their arms up. May have been Sistrunk. I don't know. Number 60. Both of these defenses are fairly young. For instance, Oakland has rebuilt their team and still won championships. Sistrunk's in his second year at left tackle. Tom's in his 5th year, just approaching greatness. Horace Jones in his 3rd year. Tony Klein in his 4th year. A very young front 4 for the Oakland Raiders. And there's only one man on the Miami defensive team over 30 years of age, and that's Nick Bonaconte. Now Connors is back in. Kick is out. Morris is back in. Now Connors is out and Skip Thomas is in. Third down, 14. Greasy to Warfield, 45. He has a first down. Oh, what a man this fellow is. Paul Warfield hit by Phil Villapiano. And Warfield's arguing. You know, Warfield plays on a running ball club. Yet he's still such a supreme receiver.
Well, we figured they'd try the middle, and they did. Look at the moves. As graceful a runner as you'll ever see.
Here it is, and Al, we remember he was a running back under Woody Hayes at Ohio State. Al Davis last night told me that in his time, that is Davis's time in football, Warfield's the greatest receiver he's ever seen. First down, Miami on the Oakland 47-yard line. Miami ahead, 7-0. 10 minutes to play in the first half. Briscoe in motion. Greasy going deep to Warfield. Intercepted and out of bounds. Willie Brown. Willie Brown intercepts for the Raiders. One of the 5 greatest cornerbacks of all time, Willie Brown. You know, he doesn't intercept many passes, Al, in his career, but the last 3 chip games he's been intercepting.
And they don't throw at him very much, and this was just perfectly played. What a beautiful catch. Unfortunately, ran out of bounds, wrong spot.
Timeout, score, Miami 7, Oakland nothing. Willie Brown, out on the coast against Oakland, held Paul Warfield without a reception. Warfield said he's one of the best he's ever played against. Paul's caught 1 pass today. Brown just intercepted this ball. Oakland's ball on their 3-yard line, first down. Bill Stanfield is injured and is not in there at right end. Bob Hines has replaced him. Straight ahead goes Marv Hubbard. for a couple of yards. So the front four now for Miami is Den Herder at left end, Fernandez at left tackle, Maldy Moore at right tackle, and Bob Hines at right end. Stanfield is injured.
And defensively, a big situation.
Blood pressure there on Frisco.
Big situation for the Miami Dolphins. The Oakland Raiders are going to obviously desperately try to get that first down. Ray Guy may be tested kicking against the wind.
Marv Hubbard has 36 yards so far. Stabler on a rollout pattern. He shoots the ball, completes it, but dropped there by Mike Ciani, who usually has a very sure pair of hands. Ciani twice has had the ball to him and hasn't been able to hold on to it.
Bob Hines is a very versatile man. He's been playing inside. We've seen him play to the outside. Sees that play. It's a rollout, a very effective play. Giving it a force, going down. Stabler moves awfully well, Curt.
He's 2 out of 5, Al, so far for just 15 yards. Stanfield has been taken to the Miami locker room for examination. 3rd and 9. Miami has Oakland backed up to the Oakland 4-yard line. They're running Marv Hubbard. They stop him, and now Oakland will have to punt and give Miami some good field position. In the punt formation, Ray Guy will be coming on. Bob Hines made that tackle, and here he is, Al.
All right, Bob Hines. We said he can play inside or play out. Moves across. Now the idea is straighten up your man. Perfect. Forcing it to the outside. Inside pressure is coming from Bonacante. Fine defensive 3-man play.
Ray Guy has kicked once, 39 yards. This time he's going against the wind. Looking at him. There's his average this year. We may have our end zone camera on him. I don't know. Let's see. Here it is. He can't step out of that end zone. Oh, there is a sensational kick against the wind on the 30-yard line. Jake Scott spinning away, and he's hit down by number 52. That's Gary Weaver. But what a punt by Ray Guy. The ball carried over 70 yards in the air. A timeout with a score. Miami 7, Oakland nothing. Working on Bob Moore, the tight end of the Raiders. Well, you've just seen why Oakland drafted Ray Guy, number 1. He just got off a 63-yard punt from scrimmage from his own end zone. Miami on their 37, a first down. They're ahead 7-0. Mercury Morris. Now they're jamming Mercury. He picks up a yard to his 38. It'll be 2nd down, 9. Morris Jones made the stop. Howard Twilley has come in. That's Bob Moore, the tight end. I don't know what was the matter with him, Al.
I have no idea. It looks like it could be a rib. They're adjusting rib or neck. He seems to have difficulty breathing.
2nd down, 8. Miami on their 39-yard line. 7.5 minutes to play in the first period. Morris to his 47, short of a first down. Tatum has the ball, but the whistle had already blown. Bill Villapiano made the tackle on him. Villapiano's picked up about 20 pounds since he came in the pros. He really wasn't big enough, the Raiders thought, for a linebacker, but then they were impressed with his range and his mobility. There goes a kick in for Mercury Morris. Moore had a slight shoulder injury. He's all right, as you can see, and he's ready to get back in there when his team gets the ball. It's now on the 46-yard line of Miami. They have a 3rd down and a yard to go. They're ahead 7-0. First down for Larry Sonka to the 50-yard line. Gerald Irons, the right linebacker, made the stop. And Mercury Morris is back in the backfield, and Jim Kick comes to the sideline.
Sometimes they put Jim Kick in, Curt, to catch a pass. Other times they put him in the block. He makes an excellent block. His roommate cuts behind him. First down. Here's this action right up close. That's Kick right there, making the block on Gerald Irons. Zonka inside.
On first down to the 50-yard line, Greasy brings Willie back in motion. Sonka rips into Oakland territory to the Oakland 48, where once again Phil Villapiano made the stop. He has been a standout defensively so far in this game. In fact, I'd say he's been the best defensive player in the field thus far.
I think he has also. He has that tremendous responsibility not only of watching the outside of that defensive end, but watching the Morris sweeps. Again, we talk about Nehemiah Wilson, the man behind him, Curt. He's only 165 pounds. He's a good one, but we'll probably see him being attacked.
Larry Sonka already has 44 yards in the game, 5 yards to carry. Second down, 8 for Miami on the Oakland 48. Greasy faking the draw, unloads it. It is knocked down by Atkinson, and a flag has been dropped. Flag has been dropped. 2 flags have been dropped. One in the backfield of Miami, another in the secondary of Oakland. I believe it's holding against Miami, and there may be a penalty also against Oakland. Let's see. Holding against Miami. Personal foul against Oakland. Offsetting penalty. Here's the personal foul, Al, against Oakland.
Let's take a look at this. It's got to be rather flagrant. There's that Villapiano fellow that you kind of like, and I do also.
Oh, yeah, that's the personal foul. That's Willie, who nearly had his head taken off.
48 is Nehemiah Wilson. That's the way they drop when they're moving into zones. I guess the little Howard, they're after the fellow from Tulsa.
So offsetting penalties, it's 2nd and 8. Miami on the Oakland 48. Jim kicks back into the backfield for Miami. That's Sonka, though. He's at the 40, first down, and the big bull is brought down on the 34-yard line of Oakland by Jack Tatum. That's that misdirect play.
Exactly, Curt. We showed it in the pregame show. The misdirect. The off-back kick goes to his left. Zonka comes back, led by that big front. How would you like this coming at you?
Larry Sonka, that's his seasonal record. 3 years in a row over 1,000 yards. Morris is back in with Sonka now. 58 yards in the game and 10 carries for Sonka. Miami a first down on the Oakland 34. Miami's controlling the ball. Mercury Morris outside at the 30, 25, 23-yard line. Another first down for Miami. Willie Brown made the tackle. Let's check how many Mercury has so far. That's his seasonal. He was held out the last game, or he probably would have made 1,000 yards. Mercury Morris is 40 yards in 8 carries. Miami a first down on the Oakland 23-yard line. Miami ahead, 7-0. 3:45 to go in the first half. Sonka, 20, down to the 16. George Atkinson had to come up to stop him, helped by Villapiano. Once again, they're getting gaping holes.
That's right, the right side of the offensive line of the Miami Dolphins. We said they were good. We isolated on Larry Little in the opening, and he's proving to be good. There is the 46-year-older. You know, every time I look at 24 years of playing football, it staggers me.
He was playing when some of these rookies weren't even born. Second down, 3 to go. Miami on the Oakland 16. 3 minutes to play in the first half. Dolphins leading 7-0. Sonka, first down. He's at the 12-yard line of Oakland, where Otis Sistrunk made the stop. Now, Paul Brown had that famous statement when he used to run Jimmy Brown 30, 35 times a game. When you have a big cannon, shoot it. And they're shooting Larry Sonka today.
This is a big cannon, a real big one. And by the way, that defensive front of the Oakland Raiders is not that overly big. You know, Tony Klein is 244, Sistrunk is 255, 260 Thomas. Not overly big.
Miami on the Oakland 12 with a first down. Mercury Morris. And he gets some tough yardage to the 7. Well, he's an amazing back. He can get it tough inside or make it look spectacular outside.
You're so right. And now what they're doing, Greasy, so beautifully. 2-minute warning coming up here, killing the clock, running it down.
Timeout. The 2-minute warning being given to John Madden and Don Shula. The score, Miami 7, Oakland nothing. We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network. Bob Greasy. We pause briefly for station identification. And we're back again.
Now we were looking at Bob Greasy talking with all that strategy. He's back on the field. They're running right down the middle. I haven't seen Greasy ever pull a bootleg, but what a beautiful play that is right here. They're jamming so much to the inside.
Miami's been running over the #1 defense in the American Conference against the run. Miami led the NFL in fewest points allowed. Oakland led the conference in total defense, rushing and passing. Larry Sonka, another about a 4-yard gain for him. Tony Klein nipped him at the 3-yard line. Larry Sonka has 73 yards so far in the first half.
Isn't he something else? The right side of that line, Norm Evans has been outstanding, as has Larry Little.
Jim Kick is in there now. Morris is out. Marv Fleming had managed a double tight end setup in. Twillie's out. Miami's on the Oakland 3-yard line. 3rd down and a yard to go. Miami's ahead 7-0. 1:23 to play in the first half. Larry Sonka. They stop him at the 2. Now Maya Wilson, the little cornerback, 165 pounds, tackled 237-pound Larry Sonka. One of the few times Sonka's been stopped. We'll have an official's timeout. With 1:03 to go in the first half, they're going to bring the yard sticks on.
You know, Curt, though Miami didn't have the total offensive year that they had last week they went over 400 yards.
And they rushed against Cincinnati for 240 yards.
Fantastic.
Out of the way, boys. They're short by 6 inches. Now today, Minnesota against the Cowboys, Gamble. They're short by 6 inches. We were kidding both Don Shula and John Madden before the game about Bud Grant gambling. Larry Sonka, he's veered away to the 1. They should have it. They stopped the clock with 34 seconds remaining in the first half. First down. Bill Arnsparger says first down to Don Shula. Timeout, Don Shula says. Take the clock, take timeout. He wants to talk to Greasy. They have 3 timeouts left. And now they come in and ask for time. Here's the replay.
Ground level, right side of that line. The line barrels straight ahead. Zonka comes after them. Almost unstoppable. I don't know what's the best first half he's ever had, but this has got to be one of them.
Jim Kick was blocking ahead of him, and now Greasy takes the timeout. The Dolphins have 2 left. He comes to the sideline to talk to Shula. We'll take a timeout. And our score here in the Orange Bowl, Miami leading 7-0. There's Davey Shula with a clipboard. Don Shula has his son charting the game. Boy, he's more intense than his dad. 1st and goal to go. Miami's on the Oakland 1-yard line. Oh, woo-hoo-hoo. Jim Kick rammed up that time. Number 21. And how he's hit there by Horace Jones.
Right side of that line moved off very quickly. This is a good pop.
Man, also, that's that Monty Johnson, too. Now, there's a young player. The Raiders are really high on Monty Johnson, Nebraska, just a rookie. And I wouldn't be surprised he might be a regular next year. He threw him back for a yard. The Dolphins have taken another timeout, Al. They have 1 more. The clock shows 27 seconds remaining in the first half. If you joined us late, we just want to give the scoring. Miami took the opening kickoff. In 8 plays, went 64 yards for a touchdown. Larry Sonka roaring 11 yards for the score. 9:47 remaining in the first period. And that's been it. That's Dan Connors the veteran middle linebacker, coming back now for Oakland. It'll be second down, 2 yards to go for a Miami touchdown.
You know, Curt, those who have played football understand what Monty Johnson just did. Ordinarily on that goal line, that front, the offensive front, kind of converges. They move to the middle and they charge straight ahead like a battleship moving across. All Monty Johnson did was to hit behind it. The interesting thing is that the Dolphins hit back to the left, and they've been awesome to the right. We'll probably see them go right with the big man.
Miami's had this ball for 13 plays now. They've dominated all possessions. They love to control the ball, and they have today, the way the Vikings did against the Cowboys. Second down, goal to go. Greasy rolling out. Pass is incomplete. It went out of one Miami's receiver's hands into the hands of Mandy. And that's an incomplete pass when it's touched by two offensive players.
This is the handheld camera, one of the interesting shots in football. It seems very confusing, but everybody has a responsibility. He fires.
Mandy. There's Little.
Almost looked like Little was there to catch it.
He did. The guy hits the ground. Had he caught it anyway, wouldn't have mattered. Fleming is out, and Howard Twilley is in. And now with 20 seconds to go, the clock has stopped in the first half. It is 3rd and 2 to go for a touchdown.
You know, Curt, Larry Little was downfield. That's a lineman downfield. We
Right.
didn't see that call.
No.
Pass play.
Well, I wonder if he went maybe after the ball was released on the rollout. That's an interesting point, though, Al. 3rd and 2 for a touchdown. And Larry Sonka gets it. Larry Sonka for the score. Well, he scored his second touchdown of the game.
I'll tell you, he has a way of slanting his body. He knows where that goal line is. Jim Langer, never underestimate him. Larry Little, a quick trap on the goal line. That takes timing. That's perfection.
There's the offensive star. Mercury Morris congratulates him. Larry Sonka has gained 77 yards in the first half. His buddy Jim Kick gives him congratulations. They're almost inseparable. And now Yepremian will kick, holding Earl Morrill. 63-yard drive for Miami. Kick is good. It's been a Miami first half. They've had drives of 64 yards and 63 yards, mostly on the ground, as they've dominated the line of scrimmage. That Broadway magic is the theme of this year's 40th annual King Orange Jamboree Parade, hosted by Peter Marshall and Robert Morris. Enjoy this New Year's Eve spectacle tomorrow at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 Central Time, right here on NBC. Charlie Smith and Clarence Davis will be deep. There's the Orange Bowl. And here on New Year's night, you'll see Penn State against LSU.
Just a point, Curt, for the Oakland fans. Miami has been outstanding as a first half team, 223. But in the second half this year, they've only gotten 120 points. Better in the first half.
The Premian's kick. Clock will not start till the ball is touched, and they down it for the touchback in the end zone. Larry Sonka's touchdown has tied an American Football Conference Championship game record for 2 touchdowns in a game. This is Larry Little limping a little bit. Miami came into the playoffs injured much more than they have in the last 2 years. So far, it hasn't seemed to make much difference, though.
No, Chula and Lawrence-Barger just keeps moving them around. They seem to come up with a man.
Oakland's ball on their 20-yard line. They run it in their own territory. 2 yards there for Clarence Davis. Clock is moving. Oakland will kill it out at their end of the field. 5 seconds. And they're going to start to the locker rooms. There's the end of the first half with a score. Miami 14, Oakland nothing. It's 14-0 halftime. Miami ahead of Oakland in the battle for the American Football Conference Championship. Very briefly, total yardage tells the story so far. Miami 172 yards, just 78 for Oakland, the number one offensive team in the American Conference. Before the game earlier, we went down in the field here in the Orange Bowl for a very special ceremony. Each year in America, you fans vote for the NFL Man of the Year, chosen on the basis of athletic ability and community achievement. In the winner's city goes a $20,000 scholarship fund, and in the other 25 NFL cities to the individual winners, a $1,000 scholarship fund. The contest is held in conjunction with the Pro Football Hall of Fame. The winner this year is Kansas City Chief quarterback Lenny Dawson. And Lenny, over the years, I just want to add a personal note. In the many games I've broadcast with you performing, I've always admired your longevity, your coolness, your leadership, your passing accuracy. And you're one of the best I've ever seen. But this is, to me, the finest award you've ever won. And to present the award, Kansas City Chief owner, the president of the American Football Conference, Mr. Lamar Hunt. Lamar?
Thank you, Curt. First of all, this is a very special award, as you've mentioned, because it is voted by the football fans of America. And the award is a relatively new one, but I'd like to mention the previous winners, who have been Johnny Unitas, John Hadle, and Willie Lanier the past 3 years. I think this year's winner obviously does further credit to the award. For the past 12 years, it's been my privilege as a fan of the Kansas City Chiefs to watch this man on the football field, and his performances have truly been outstanding, so much so that today he is rated as the top passing quarterback in professional football history. In the community of Kansas City, he has been associated with many, many worthwhile causes, and Len, it's my great privilege to present to you the Gladiator Trophy, which is symbolic of your selection as the NFL Man of the Year.
Lamar, thank you very much. And indeed, Curt and Lamar, this is a tremendous honor for me because what it exemplifies. And it's just gratifying to know that what you do, not only on the field but off the field, is perhaps the right way to go. And I would like to thank all the fans in the country, particularly the people in Kansas City, who think so much of this particular award because of what it will do for youngsters coming out of high school, that they have selected me. Thank you very much.
Don't try to lift it. All right, here at halftime, it's 14-0. The defending world champs, the Miami Dolphins, out in front of Oakland. Minnesota defeated Dallas today, 27-10, and they're standing by waiting to see who they're going to play in the Super Bowl on January 13th. Right now, let's have an NBC Sports Update with Tim Ryan.
Well, thank you, Curt. And as you all know by now, at halftime here, it's 14-0 for Miami over the Oakland Raiders in this AFC Championship game. And more football coverage coming up New Year's Day on NBC. The Rose Bowl at 4:30 Eastern Time with Ohio State against USC in a rematch of last year's game. That'll be followed at 7:45 by the Orange Bowl right here in Miami, which will feature Penn State against the LSU Tigers. And, of course, John Cappelletti, the Heisman Trophy winner, will be in that game. Friday, January 4th, hockey returns to NBC. 15 regular season games followed by the Stanley Cup Championship Series. And there'll be several new and exciting intermission features also shown during our NBC coverage of NHL hockey right here on NBC.
Hockey, NHL style. The fastest and roughest game in the world. NBC Sports will present 15 regular season games, plus Stanley Cup action. But NBC's coverage doesn't stop there. Between periods, you'll see the excitement of Showdown, one-on-one hockey between 20 of the greatest hockey players in the world, playing for over $75,000 in prize money. Is it a goal or a save? Find out when Showdown premieres Friday, January 4th. Showdown is for the big boys, and Ted Lindsay's mini clinic is for the smaller ones of all ages.
Bruce, you know not to go in there unless you're going to get that puck for sure. Get yourself caught. You know that.
Yeah.
The participants on the ice and the viewers at home will both get the opportunity to learn the game of hockey directly from one of hockey's greatest players. Between periods, you'll also meet Peter Puck. Who else could you learn the basics of hockey from better?
Howdy, fans. Peter Puck here to lay some facts on you about hockey, the world's fastest team sport. During the game, would you believe I travel around this rink at speeds over 100 miles an hour.
Peter Puck, just one of the innovative ideas NBC Sports has in store for you when NHL hockey returns on Friday, January 4th, with one of hockey's traditional rivalries, the Boston Bruins and the New York Rangers. There'll be plenty of action, and NBC Sports has it all.
Returning to football coverage this January on NBC, Saturday, January 12th from Mobile, Alabama, the Senior Bowl game featuring the top college seniors in the country. That's a 1 o'clock start Eastern Time. And then Sunday, January 20th, the Pro Bowl game from Kansas City at 2 o'clock Eastern Time. Well, earlier today, the Minnesota Vikings advanced to the Super Bowl with their victory 27-10 over the Dallas Cowboys. And we've got some highlights from that game. Let's take a look at this early action in the third period. The Vikings leading at 10-0. A long pass from Roger Staubach is intercepted by Bobby Bryant, ending a Dallas drive right near that Viking goal line, the first of 2 interceptions by Bryant in the game. And then on the following series, the punt by Mike Eyeshide, driving back Golden Richards to his own 38, and watch him take it down the sideline as this got the Cowboys back into the game to make it 10-7. Fran Tarkenton brought the Vikings right back, however, and it helped to take a little of the spirit out of the Cowboys. On the next series, he hit John Gilliam, number 42, behind Mel Renfro, that opened the score to 17-7. Tony Frisch's field goal cut the margin to 17-10, but then Bobby Bryant again, perfectly timing that interception, again wide open down the sideline, 65 yards to make it 24-10. Fred Cox's second field goal from 34 yards moved it out to 27-10. The game featured 9 turnovers in the second half alone. The Cowboys certainly missed Calvin Hill on the sidelines with that dislocated elbow. The Vikings simply too much, and they advanced to the Super Bowl against the winner of today's game. And we'll be returning with Curt Gowdy and Al DeRogatis right after station identification.
See the Orange Bowl Parade tomorrow night at 9, 8 Central Time on NBC.
This American Football Conference Championship game is brought to you by Chrysler Plymouth, featuring the beautiful new 1974 Chryslers and Plymouth. By Sears Tire and Auto Centers, home of the Die-Hard battery and the Sears steel-belted radial tire. And by Amica Oil, who urges you to conserve this country's energy. Well, this is the University of Wisconsin lacrosse band. We just have a brief time for them. They've done a good job here at halftime, and a hand for them by the sellout crowd.
1973 version of the Flip Chiefs. The Marching Chiefs of La Crosse, Wisconsin.
The The American Conference Championship game will continue with the second half kickoff here at the Orange Bowl. The score, Miami 14, Oakland nothing.
Injector shavers, the best shave of your life is just ahead. Introducing Track 2 Twin Injector Blades. Twin blades that fit your injector razor. Now you can get twin blade closeness and safety. As the first edge shaves, it lifts the whiskers so the second edge can shave it again. With closeness and safety never possible from injector shaving until Track 2 Twin Injector Blades. New from Gillette. For the best injector shave of your life.
The girls are working out for the game of the year and waiting on the car that was bringing the gear. Plymouth Duster, 74. You can get yourself this flip-down seat that holds equipment nice and neat in a carpeted locker room 6.5 feet long. And you can get this roof opens easy, too. Cranks right shut when you don't like the view. 74 Plymouth Duster. A lot of car for the money again.
4 of college football's finest teams will swing into action New Year's Day on NBC. First, undefeated Ohio State meets once-beaten USC in the Rose Bowl. Powerful Ohio State is led offensively by running back Archie Griffin and defensively by linebacker Randy Gradishar. While USC must find a way to stop these two, Ohio State must concentrate on USC's 2 great offensive threats, running back Anthony Davis and wide receiver Lynn Swann. Then, immediately following the Rose Bowl, NBC Sports moves to Miami for the Orange Bowl game, where the Tigers from LSU battle undefeated Penn State. Penn State features a powerful defense and a host of offensive stars led by Heisman Trophy winner John Cappelletti. A true test for the underdog, but always explosive LSU Tigers. There'll be plenty of Rose Bowl and Orange Bowl action, and NBC Sports has it all.